All right, guys, so today we are looking at solving equations review. All right, so this is the review kind of stuff. This is what we did last semester. Again, just making sure that we're good because this is such a big deal. You'll notice that we've seen solving multi-step equations for the first couple days, and then we did proportions, but all of that feeds off of being able to solve equations. So we're going to work a couple of these. I got a couple different ones selected that we're going to work out in this video, and then I'm going to let you finish the rest of this sheet. So there's 20 questions. I'll probably do about 5 or 6 of them with you, and then I'm going to let you work. All right, so let's start with number 1. Remember, the goal when it comes to solving equations is to get the variable by itself. So when you look at this first equation, you have negative 225 equals 15n. Well, to get n by itself, what do you have to do? No, not multiply. The negative 15, or excuse me, the positive 15 is being multiplied by n. So to get n by itself, you have to undo multiplying by 15. So to undo that, you have to divide. You are 100% correct. So you would take this, divide both sides by 15, and you would be left with n. And then you just have to do the math. So negative 225 divided by 15 ends up being negative 15. Bam. All right. So there is that equation. All right. Now let's look at number 2. Number 2, your variable is n again. But what is happening to n this time? It is being divided by 16. Well, to undo dividing, you would have to multiply. And if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other side. So that'll leave you with n is equal to, I got 288. Any questions on those two? Those are two that we see the least amount, so I wanted to make sure that we got those covered and we're good to go there. All right, let's look at number 5. Number 5 is the next one. You have 2 is equal to 10 plus b divided by 9. All right. So looking here, if you notice your variable is in the top part of the fraction, but there is something being added to it, right? Well, before you can get there, you've got to get what is being added to your variable by itself. So you have to look and say, well, what is happening underneath that whole thing? Well, the whole thing is being divided by 9. Well, before you can get b by itself, you got to get 10b, 10 plus b by itself. So to undo dividing by 9, you would want to multiply. Okay, so 9 times 2 equals 18, which is equal to 10 plus b. Now, as you see here, we're really close to getting b by itself, but we have to undo adding 10. How do you undo adding 10? Yeah, you subtract 10. Okay? And you end up getting 8 is equal to b. All right? Questions so far? Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 7. All right? And then we'll probably do 1 or 2 on the back, and then we'll be done. All right, number 7 here. You have negative 3 plus v divided by 6 equals negative 4. Just like before we can get rid of the v and get v by itself, we've got to get v divided by 6 by itself. Now, I chose this problem for a couple reasons. One of the major reasons was, as you look at this, you have a negative 3 plus v over 6. How do you get rid of that negative 3? You can't subtract it because the 3 is negative. To get rid of it, you would have to add 3. Is everybody okay with why that is? All right. So you would add 3, add 3. All right. You end up getting v divided by 6 is equal to, well, negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Now we're at the point where we could get that v by itself. What is happening to the v? It is being divided by 6. Well, to undo divide by 6, you have to multiply by 6. Therefore, you're left with v is equal to -6. Any questions on that? It's too easy. Good. All right, let's flip over to the back. All right. We've done a lot of the distributing ones, so I'm going to skip those for now. If you need help later, I'll be more than happy to do one of those. Some of those easy ones. I want to really look at, let's look at, how about 18 and 20? Those will be the last two that we do. All right. So looking at these, 18, let's start there. You have negative, parentheses 4x plus 7 is equal to -7 plus x. Well, here's the first thing that has to happen. We've got to be able to distribute this negative. Now, the thing that a lot of students don't understand is, why do I have to distribute a negative? I don't understand. Well, really that negative is really the same thing as a -1. So you're really distributing a -1 throughout here. Is everybody okay with that? So that becomes -4x minus 7 equals -7 plus x. All right. Now, from here, it's all about what you want to do first. I like to get my variables together. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 4x to both sides. All right. And when I do that, I'm left with -7 equals -7. X plus 4x becomes 5x. Next step is I want to get the 5x by itself. So I would add 7 to both sides. Well, 7 plus -7 is going to be 0. So 0 is equal to 5x. Then to get x by itself, you would undo multiplying by 5, which means you would divide by 5. And you'd end up getting x is equal to 0. All right. Last one here is number 20. Is everybody okay so far? All right. Number 20 is one that I want to look at because you've got to distribute, but then you've got to simplify. You've got to combine like terms. So the first thing you start off here is distributing -8 to everything in that parentheses. So that leaves you with 29 plus 5v on the left side. And then you're going to get 3 minus 40v minus 64. Okay. Now, before we can get going, we've got to simplify. We've got a 3 and a -64 on the right-hand side. So you get 29 plus 5v is equal to -61 minus 40v. And how I got -61 was +3 and -64. All right. Now, from there, it's all about getting our like terms together. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 40v to both sides so that my v's all come together. So I get 29 plus 45v equals -61. Then the next thing I'm going to do is try and get 45v by itself. So how do you undo adding 29? You would subtract 29. 45v is equal to -90. Divide both sides by 45. And you end up getting v is equal to -2. All right. Questions on there? No? All right. Perfect. Okay. So now what I want you to do for the rest of your time here is just go ahead and finish this sheet. This is practice for you. Nothing has to be submitted to Canvas. All right. You submitted the stuff from Thursday and Friday should have been submitted there. All right, this is just extra practice. We get something new tomorrow, then we'll practice on it Wednesday, quiz review Thursday, quizzes on Friday. Y'all got it? Ready, set, go.